Keir Starmer on the brink as Labour backbenchers demand new Gaza visa. The floodgates have opened as dozens of Labour MPs demand yet another huge policy concession. By Christian Calgie, senior political correspondent at The Express. Yeah, obviously I had to cover this one from the Daily Express because the BBC wouldn't go near this with a 50-foot pole. Now, I'm sure some of you are sat there thinking, what's the big deal? We've took asylum seekers from everywhere on planet Earth. I mean, we've even took people, refugees, from places like Morocco and Algeria and Albania and various other places that aren't even at war. So what's the big deal about a few Palestinian fellas, eh? What's the big deal? Well, I'll tell you what the big deal is. Essentially, that country is the Middlesbrough of the Middle East. To use a simile that English people will understand, it's basically a nation of chavs. If those people were from the UK, they would exist off a diet entirely of Super Kings, Special Brew and Chicago Town pizzas. And in that neck of the woods, people that are badly educated and dragged up, they don't just smoke and drink and eat a lot of Chicago Town pizzas. They, basically act like Bronze Age fundamentalists. I'm going to show you the evidence shortly. And I'm going to tell you why it happens. But there's a reason why Palestinians, even in countries like Egypt and Jordan and Saudi Arabia, are about as popular as a bastard at a family reunion. Okay, I'm sure you've all seen this story by now. It's amazing. Basically, if this happens, it's the death of the UK. I don't think that's hyperbolic. If you think Albanians are bad, this lot are next level hooligans. The average Palestinian father makes Mick Philpott look like Dad of the Year. And if you don't know who he is because you're not from the UK, he set 5 of his kids on fire. Not because he had too many, but because he was trying to do some sort of benefit fraud. Needless to say, they're not the type of people you want in, especially in other regions of the Middle East, who you would think would have the most tolerance for them, no? If you don't believe me, let's see what Grok has to say about it. And we all know he's a slightly left-wing AI, isn't he? This was in response to the question, is it true that Arab states don't accept refugees from Gaza? And he responded with, several countries, particularly Arab states, do not accept refugees from Gaza. Egypt refuses due to security risks in Sinai, economic strain and fears of permanent expulsion. Jordan also declines, citing its large Palestinian population and political concerns. Turkey and Qatar, despite political support for Palestinians, do not take Gazan refugees, likely for security reasons. Likely, yeah. And it's likely Diane Abbott's ate too many battered Mars bars. Other countries like Algeria, Bahrain and Saudi Arabia similarly refuse, often to avoid demographic shifts or militant risks. However, Canada accepts some. Yeah, well, if Canada accepts some, it's a bad idea. Justin Trudeau's legacy of failure is so complete that it's rumoured the last bill he was trying to pass was to make it mandatory for all Canadian men to remove their own testicles with a flick knife and then leave them in a pickle jar on the wife's bedside table. The bloke was an embarrassment, a self-loathing, sparrow-boned soy boy of the highest order. So let's not follow Canada's lead, eh? And Exhibit C, if you want to see another bit of evidence, is I showed this on one of my live streams a few months back. But for those of you that didn't see it, this is an Al Jazeera piece. So again, sympathetic to their cause. It's Al Jazeera, the biggest snack bar mainstream media outlet on planet Earth. And this is a piece they ran about children's entertainment on the Gaza Strip. Check this out.
Are you sitting comfortably? Then we'll begin. This is children's broadcasting as produced by Hamas-run television in Gaza. But don't be fooled by the colourful scenery. Instead of songs and stories, the show serves up political ideology disguised as cuddly animals. The latest character to join the programme is Asud the rabbit, and he comes with a backstory. The young viewers are told that Asud entered Gaza from Egypt after Hamas knocked down the border wall in January. The wooden key he wears round his neck, he says, is the key of return to reclaim Jerusalem from the Zionists.
We educate our children about loyalty, love, understanding, and hard work, nothing more. We also teach them that we have lands stolen by the criminal Zionists.
The rabbit replaces Nahul the bee, who gets his fun from tormenting cats and from throwing stones at a caged lion. The children get to watch Nahul's antics for several minutes before the show delivers the moral of the story. Don't try this at home. But Nahul didn't leave the show because of his naughty behaviour. The young viewers are told that the cuddly bee died because the Israeli siege on Gaza prevented him from reaching a hospital.
Here is a sleeping cat. I am going to attack it. Perfect Saturday morning programming for the nippers, innit? Look at that. So listen to me. If you raise your children on a diet of endless, unending hatred every day, and you tell them every time they sit on your knee, you know what you should do? You should go out with a bang and take as many 4x2s out with you as you possibly can. Then you'll be a martyr and everyone will love you. What do you think those kids are going to turn out like? What do you think they're going to want to do when they're 20 years old? And I can show you dozens of examples. There's cartoons that are actually quite well animated. They look like Captain Planet or something. But instead of 5 heroes wanting to take care of the environment, it's 5 young lads who proceed to tell the audience how the greatest thing you can achieve in life is to fill your pockets with rat poison and Semtex, run into a Jewish funeral procession and proceed to scatter yourself and 20 of them all across the desert sands. These people are deranged, but not quite as daft as the Labour MPs that want to bring them to the UK. A total of 67 MPs and Lords have called on the PM and the Home Secretary to help reunite Palestinians with their loved ones in the UK until it's safe to return. Just as the UK opened its doors to those fleeing persecution in Ukraine and Hong Kong, we believe the same generosity should be extended to the worst chavs on planet Earth. The letter was signed by a whopping 35 Labour MPs and Lords, including all the usual suspects: Clive Lewis, Stella Creasy, old Greasy Creasy there, Afzal Khan, Bel Ribeiro Addy, and Andy Slaughter. Yeah, Andy Slaughter, that's an apt name, isn't it? Because if they move 100,000 Palestinians into Greater Manchester and they then find out there's a significant population of Jewish people live there, that's what we're going to get on the streets of Manchester. Slaughter. So he's well named, that fella, isn't he?
اقعد حبيبي فرفور اقعد ارتاح احنا فرفور بدنا نشتري الارض شري يا فرفور بدنا نديك مصاري كتير لا مش احنا اللي بنبيع اراضينا لناس ارهابيين فرفور نعم بدك تجيب له وراك يعني بدك تجيب له وراك ومش سايب له وراك ومش سايب ايه ومش سايب له وراك فرفور نعم بدك تجيب له وراك فرفور بدك تجيب له وراك فرفور احنا عندنا احنا ارهابيه فرفور خد 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 خد
نعم أحبابنا الأطفال، لقد فقدنا أعز صديق لنا فرفور. لقد استشهد فرفور وهو يدافع عن أرضه.
I'll reiterate for the hard of hearing, okay? Well, 3 points. First of all, we don't want any more refugees. We're getting a little bit full up, and I think that statement's echoed by almost everyone at this point. So, first of all, we don't want any more refugees. Secondly, if we do, we don't want the worst refugees on planet Earth who raise their children to grow to want to run into a packed stadium with a hissing backpack. It's a terrible idea. And third, and finally, we saw this when we imported Indians and Pakistanis to Leicester, and the next thing, they're seeing out centuries-old tribal feuds outside Paddy Power on the High Street in England. It's preposterous. We don't need to import these foreign wars. We've now got loads of 4x2s in the UK. The worst thing you can do is import their ancestral foes that raise the children with the mother's milk, that the best thing they can do in life is go around lopping heads off. I mean, is this not perfectly reasonable, logical behaviour from anybody on any end of the political spectrum. If you want people coming to your country, you want highly educated professionals, you want surgeons and engineers. You don't want kids who spent every day of their childhood not watching Sesame Street, Elmo teaching them how to read and write. No, these guys watch Masood the Bumblebee, hoy a brick at the tiger and then headbutt a Jewish pensioner. It's the worst idea ever. But that's just me. Maybe I'm just being prejudiced. Oh yeah, but also so is Jordan, Egypt, Saudi Arabia and Turkey. Just putting that out there. Anyway, let me know what you think. That's today's video. I'll see you all tomorrow. Toodle pip. Cheers.